Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. And yes, today is a breezier day, but I can't complain. I'm not in New York, and so here I am. Where's my turtleneck? So yes, I'm out here, and it is breezy, but it is cloudy. The sun is out though, and so I'm grateful to have the sun out, and I'm grateful that I can be out here like this. Of course, I'm not going to be out here like this long. So anyway, I love you so much, and I am so sorry for that background, but there's not a whole lot to pick from in this area here where I am. And because today being Thanksgiving, there's places that the parks are closed. So anyway, I hope that you're all enjoying Thanksgiving Day, and if you have family, I hope you were able to, spend some time with some loved ones or friends or even strangers. It's not about just family. And so I appreciate all of you, and if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, don't be afraid, don't be shy, swing by and say hi to Starlight by leaving Starlight a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. And you can also share my videos with your family or friends. A raccoon and a fox. Sneaky little fox. So watch out for those fox kind of people. And also, not only you could share my videos with a fox and a raccoon, you can also check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. So anyway, before I get going, is also anyone who would love to send Starlight some extra love, you can do that on my Cash App, and I will put the information here. Ping! There it is. There's that information of my Cash App, and that way all you got to do is, if you want to send donations to Starlight, you can. And by downloading the Cash App, and my information is there, and that way you could send extra love to Starlight, and Starlight could definitely use some love here, as always, just like all of us. Also, besides sending Starlight some extra love, is thank you, all of you who have been here watching my YouTube channel for a very long time. Yes, there's some of you that have been here when I was on Facebook making videos, and boy, was that was a lot of you missed out on those videos, but there's one that I know that is out here still today that watch my videos. And also for everyone else who's out there loving and supporting Starlight, and thank you for being here, subscribing to my YouTube channel, giving me thumbs up, sharing my videos. And those of you that are so brave, you leave me comments. Thank you. I recently received comments today from a couple ladies. Thank you, ladies. And before I start, of course, you're not going to get this message until the next day, but I hope you had, a great Thanksgiving day. And okay, so today is about how do you know when it's time to let go of people in your life. How do you know, And there's times, and I was guilty of this so many times in my past, is holding dear tight on the people that weren't there for me. They, if they were there for me, what I thought they were there for me is that what it is, they were there for me, and it was all the wrong reasons, and what I mean by that is, like, anytime that we give to people, like, I gotta see if I have anything. See if I'm not gonna do this, because this is, I love this thing. Starlight just needs a karaoke, that would be super, karaoke, so I can sing out here. But, like, say if I was gonna, here you go, I'm just gonna give you this. There should be no strings attached to this, Do you see any? Well, yeah, see, there's a string attached, obviously. So there shouldn't be anything attached to when I want to give you something, There's, Hang on, Starlight's that was a tickle. I gotta get some water. Some of us have never been taught the proper way of giving, giving and receiving. So like, say if I wanted to give you this, right? And I say, here, I'm going to give you this beautiful speaker. And I used to thought that was a cross, but really that's just positive, negative, actually volume and, high and low. But I want to give you this. I'm going to give you this, right? So when I give you this, it means when you do it the right way, it means that you're not looking for anything in return. You're not like, here, I'm going to give you this now. I'm hoping that, what are you going to give me later? Because those are the kind of people that I spent time with before is they gave me things, but they gave for the wrong reasons. There's people that give for all different kinds of reasons. Some of you might think, well, Starlight, I give because I want to give. And I don't want nothing back from you, Starlight. Well, that's the right way to give. But that's not really what I'm going to be talking about. I'm talking about today is, how do you know when it's time to let go of people, you got to pay attention to this. We are in a stimulation, whether you understand that or not. And being in this stimulation, I'll tell you what, it took me my whole life to understand these things. And there's layers to this and levels to this or whatever. And, I have been there for somebody for years. And you know what? God is going to put us through all of us through this, and that particular person that I'm mentioning today is that person from the past did some horrible shit to Starlight. I'm amazed that I'm alive today, because of the stuff that I went through with that person, in the past. But you know what? I forgave that person. I let it go. I understood, in the Bible it says, forgive them for they know not what they do. And then I forgave that person. And my whole life I've done nothing but, be there, to help that person out. And for all this time on this journey is that person has called me up on my phone looking for sympathy, looking for help, looking for answers, and even though they're older than I am, and even though they treated me like shit, in the past, did a lot of evil stuff to me when I was, younger, and I forgave them, I've been here 100% to help them out any which way I could, and there's going to be times that you, and I noticed this for the longest time, I'm like, anytime that I got together with that person before, it was always a battle, It was always a battle. I couldn't ever be around that person without them belittling me my whole life. And then ever since I've been on this journey, everything turned around, and I was like, it would have been great to think that this person got their heart right, and was going to treat me like a human being for once. But for all this time that I've been on this journey, I was like, something ain't right, something is not right, something's off, something's totally wrong here, they've been acting, they've been acting like they love me and they care about me, and I'm like, this is not the person I know. Who is this person, And you got to watch out. You might be going through something like this in your life where, you've had somebody that treated you like shit, didn't respect you, belittle you, criticize you, always had a way of knocking you down, and then, and then they're nice and they're friendly, and you're like, who are you? So for years I've been scratching my head. Who are you? Who are you? I don't know you. You don't ever treat me like this. What's up with this? So if you're ever going through that with anybody, is there's times that you might have loved ones in your life, And this is what it is, and I just had a light bulb moment yesterday, actually not just yesterday, but a few days ago. Ping! It hit me. I was like, okay, now that's more like this person. That attitude, yes, that kind of energy is more like this person, where it just kind of hit me a little bit, it's like, okay, and it just was a one of those times that you're noticing things. And so be careful when people change just like that, they go from being rotten to being sweet and kind. But normally that they're not always sweet and kind. That's the point, is normally they're, mean and nasty, spiteful, revengeful, hurtful. And then they turn to sweet, and you're like, what the heck? And there's times that, people, they're wearing a mask, and they've been wearing a mask all this time, pretending to care about you and pretending that they're out for you. But watch out for that kind of shit. And I am serious, because there's times that people get into relationships with, they could get in relationship with a sweet person, and they could have been in that relationship with that person for a long time, and they have secrets with that person, and there's people that want me to go to a wedding. I will not go to their wedding. Why, Starlight? Why won't you go to their wedding? If I don't agree with what's going on with the couple, no way. You know what? I'm not going to drive all that distance to go to a wedding that I don't even agree to. When you see the lies, and you see the deceit, and you see, the game plan that's going on, you see the fakeness, and then they're going to marry somebody else, does that person even, should they even be blessed with this person over here, And I really don't know the whole story on this situation with both of these people, but really, if they're being deceitful and lying and, wearing a mask, and then they want to get together and get married, no, I don't want to, because I'm a part of that, If I feel like, hey, yeah, you've been all these things, I don't see any lie, and I don't see no deceit, and if I could, I would go to a wedding like that. But if I feel in my heart that they're getting married for the wrong freaking reason, and that they're not being honest with each other, and they're not being faithful and all that stuff, and no, I don't need to go to that wedding. And you need to really, so even in your life, do you have to go to that wedding? If you don't agree with the people that are, because you're agreeing to it. It's like you're saying, yes, I would love to see these two together. But what if you don't want to see those two together? You believe that it's off. There's something off with that, So it's, because then the people that are getting married, they're going to think that, you're agreeing to this whole, binding together, having that relationship and, a commitment like that. And so back to, letting people go is, there's people that they don't want other people to know how wicked they really are. So say if you're talking to somebody and they're in their house, and their loved one is in the house, and they can hear them talking, so now they put the halo on their head, and they're like, oh, hello, Starlight, how are you? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And their spouse or their girlfriend or, whoever is hearing it. Wow, isn't he so sweet to, like to Starlight? Well, look at how sweet this person is to Starlight. But it's an act. Because they don't really want the person to know how wicked they really are in their heart. And how there's so many things that this person is doing right now, that is wicked. It's really wrong, of these different things that I know about this person. So, and then there's going to be a moment when that person, their loved one, is not there, and then boom, their ugly head pops up. And then you see the devil, the horns start popping out of the halo. And then they really reveal. That's the time you need to let that person go. Because once you realize that it's been a fake, it's been phony, that person's been fake with you, been phony with you, they got a mask on, they're only out to hurt you. It's all just a joke. It's all, an act. And so it's so important that when people really show their true selves to you, with the horns popping up, you don't need to be there anymore. And there's going to be times that we're all going to be faced with this in our life. You could get caught off with a phone call sometime by somebody that, they're pretending to be having the angel, the halo, and the wings, around certain people. And then behind their back, they're playing the devil. And then when they're together, they're playing the angel. Is that there could be a time that God is going to challenge you with that person there. And it could be a person that you fear. You feared your whole life. You never felt comfortable. You never felt, happy around that person. That person could be jealous of you, and that's what goes on in this situation here is there's people that I love and I've spent a long time with, where that person, when they find out, that I spent more time with this person over here, they could get jealous and get envious of you because you had a great relationship with this person over here, and they never had that with you. But they never respected you enough, and they never treated you right to have that kind of relationship. They never gave you a chance to have that kind of open relationship. Not that this relationship was easy. No, it was definitely trying. So you got to be careful, because there's some people out there, they're very evil. And, when their horns start popping up, and you start seeing that part of them, and because now, they're getting bloodthirsty on you. You don't have to have those people in your life. If you've been there and supporting them, and that's what I've been doing for years, I've been there. That person has came to me asking for help, looking for advice, and then bam, out of the blue. So be careful of people out there that are not being real with you. They got a mask on. They're playing the angel, around other people. And there's people that do this. They don't want their reputation being hurt. So even at their job place, they put a mask on, and, flirting with women and, making it look good, on the outside. But inside, that's where it is. What's going on inside of that person. Because outside it's just a mask. They're showing you what they want you to think that they are. But it's just a mask. It's an angel mask. And the one that they want to get married to, they're wearing a mask. They're disguising themselves. So why would you want to support a wedding like that if you know that later on that could be, really damaging, later on in that relationship? So be mindful of the kind of people. Are they wearing a mask? Are they covering up that part? Are they one way over here and another way over there? How are they around the people that they spend time with? Pay attention to that shit. Are they one way with you and another way with somebody else and another way with, they're wearing a mask. A lot of people are wearing a mask, covering up who they really are. Around this person, they act this way, and this person was just around somebody else, which has health issues and all this stuff, and bam, out of nowhere, the horns started popping up like full-time fledged, because their loved one wasn't around, so their loved one couldn't hear what was going on. But boy, I've had darts I'll tell you what, in the Bible it says fiery darts. Fiery darts exist. Let me tell you that. Have you ever had anybody, where you're being attacked spiritually by somebody and they're throwing fiery darts at you? That stuff exists. I've experienced that. So be careful out there, the kind of people that you trust. Are they being real? How are they, when they're around this person? And, because sometimes people slip up. And that's what you got to pay attention with is, are they fake at work? Are they fake around their family and then they're one way with you and over there there's somebody different? That's what you got to pay attention. If somebody's, you're seeing their real true nature and you said, wow, I've been sticking up for you. I put myself in a risk situation by being in between. I was trying to get two people to come together to forgive each other and move on in their life. I put myself in between this to help both sides. I actually put my neck out on the line for this person over here that I was confused, wondering what the heck. I thought they, changed. I thought they were, changing. They weren't changing. They were wearing a freaking mask, making it look like they were some kind of angel. They're jealous and very revengeful and strifeful, spiteful, That person does not love me, never did love me. It's all an act. Every time that person gets a girlfriend, it's an act because he doesn't want his girlfriend to know really what's behind that mask. So watch out there. You might even be with somebody in a relationship that they're, wearing a mask. Are they one way with you on the phone and another way with somebody else? Even if they're, they might want you to, believe that they're an angel. It's just a mask covering it up, So watch out for that stuff. That's the time to let those people go. They're only going to do you damage later on. You're only going to, and there's going to be a time you might have to face those people and really say what you need to say. And I'm already asking God ahead of time, God, please, I'm not backing down. I'm no longer afraid of this person. This person scarred me for, wow. I'm not going to put up with that kind of shit anymore. I am stronger now. I've been building up myself. God has been helping me. My mentor has helped me to be strong and not put up with that kind of shit anymore. So don't put up with that kind of stuff by people. Face your fears. That is one of my fears that, I've had my whole life of this person here. And I'm not gonna turn around and run and have my tail in between my legs and run away. No, this is when I'm gonna be, no, I'm not gonna let you do this to me anymore. So keep your heart right with those people. Pray for those people. There's times that we could pray for people when you see the little sly games that they're playing and the deceitful stuff that they're doing. I just prayed Starlights, and there's nothing wrong. I don't believe there's nothing wrong. I prayed for, I can't mention too much about this because there's some people that might watch my YouTube channel, but there's two people, I know this person here that I'm mentioning about right now, they can't wait for, it's crazy. There's people out there, they can't wait for you to die. They can't wait for you to die. They can't wait for this person to die. They're like, oh, I can't wait. Is there health problems? You got health problems, They're waiting for them to die. And it's so sad. There's people out there, they don't have that love for people and they can't wait. So I just prayed, God, make these two people live for the longest, make them live to past 100 years. I want them to live, I bless them with longevity, I want them to live a long time because this person's heart is not right and God sees right through their shit. So be wise on the kind of things that, you see somebody being deceitful and stuff, think of ways that you could pray, where, it's giving somebody, where they got to fight for what they want, and it's been a fight their whole life to thinking that they're going to get something because somebody passes away. So I love you. So Pray for those people. Keep your heart right with those people. Pray for those people. Hey, God, I pray that you bless this person. But stand up. Don't run away from those people. If they catch you off guard, be ready to have an answer. Be ready to stand, have your guns ready. No, you ain't fucking with me anymore. I've had enough of this. I'm not taking this anymore. Tell these people, don't back down. Don't run away. Face your fears. Face those people that don't want nothing good for you. They only want to see you hurt. When they see you hurt, and that's just what happened to me yesterday, they knew something bothered me. Somebody passed away, and it really did. It really hurt me, and I was crying about it. I mean, it took me a long time. It took me freaking, a long time, years to, and now I'm actually doing better. But there's people that they get a kick out of seeing people. They didn't love this person that passed away. They couldn't stand this person. They wished evil on this person. And there's people that will rub somebody's death in your face, hoping that it will hurt you. Those people you need to let go of. Let God deal with those people. Let God do that work. Keep your heart right with those people, but don't let these people run over top of you. I love you so much. You could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you could share my videos with your families. I see some crows out there having fun, flying around. And I am going to say a llama. Where did the llama come from? Not out here. So yes, stick to your guns. Don't let people run over top of you. And God will bless you, by standing up and saying, not today. Nope, not tomorrow either. So I love you. And besides sharing my videos, you can also check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Digman Starlight. Watch out for those people that are proclaiming that they're a little angel. But no, they're not an angel. They got little horns. Did you see the tail? So anyway, I love you. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.